Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Today, we're discussing what's actually changing in digital marketing and AI and what isn't with Brad Burrow of Real Media KC. Brad, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. To start things off here, can you share a bit about your role and how it fits into the bigger picture at Real Media KC?
Yeah, well, I'm the founder and owner of Real Media. Started it in 1997, believe it or not. And back then, just it was me and another person, and really, I was a full-time musician before that, and I have a degree in marketing. But I wanted to get into the creative arts world, so I really learned video production and went out and bought camera gear and went out and started selling projects and have built the business, over the last 28 years, something like that. Right now, I've lost counts, but we own a facility in Kansas City now. It's 8,000 square feet. We have, I've got a recording studio, a podcast studio, a big green screen stage, a shooting kitchen. We can stream live with multiple cameras. I've got an animation staff, multiple edit suites, and big server room that has a petabyte of storage. And it's the business has changed a lot over the years, so we've just had to learn and adapt as we go. But yeah, we've been around a long time.
Isn't that what digital marketing is all about, right? It's constantly changing.
Daily right now, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just quickly, you don't look old enough to have a 28-year-old business. I know because I started mine in 2009. People tell me the same thing. So,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Well, thank
What
you.
is a
Yeah.
what does a typical day look like for you? I bet it's wearing lots of hats.
Yeah, and that's for me, that's one of the things that as I've gotten older in the business, I'm really trying to get our business to the point where I'm not doing so many things. But right now, I run the business. I do all the business development side. I actually do some production work. But back when I started, I did everything, and I developed my skill sets to be able to do everything from audio to even some animation work, shooting, writing, all the post production. And as we've gotten older and bigger, I've got specialists in some of those roles now, but you still, in the Midwest in Kansas, you still have to really be able to do a little bit of everything. And so that's kind of the fun of this business. You get to be around all kinds of new, different types of things and different types of project and people and places and all those things. So that's the fun of it. But my goal is to kind of work myself out of a day-to-day job so I can go out and start working on some feature film projects.
Yeah, yeah, or get back to the music, right?
Yeah, music too. Right.
What did you play? What
I was a
instruments?
guitar player and singer, and
Okay,
I've recorded several albums. We've got a recording studio here too. That's one of the reasons I bought this building.
fantastic.
But, music is very, very important to me personally, but I also think a lot of people in our industry don't understand the power of music in storytelling. And
Absolutely.
that's something that we really emphasize here at Real Media.
Fabulous. I'm with you there. I also have a background in music, so understand.
Good.
So let's get into some industry trends.
Yeah.
What major shifts are you seeing in your industry right now, particularly?
Well, and I don't think this is AI related at all, but what's happened in our industry is that the barriers to entry to get into film production have come down significantly because technology has changed. And so you can go out and buy a DSLR camera and a good lens and, a laptop and say I'm a video production company and I can do videos, and people with the right skill set can do that fairly well. Not everybody can do that. It's still a skill set in knowing how to tell stories and, how to create content that actually educates and empowers people and that kind of thing. But so what's happened in our industry is we've needed to change our target audience of who we work with pretty significantly. So the smaller businesses and people with smaller budgets are going to work with the freelance type people a lot more. So we're really focusing our efforts now marketing wise on businesses and companies that are, 15, 20 million in revenue minimum up to maybe $1 billion in revenue. And these are the companies that need a lot of content. That's continuing to grow, as you probably know.
Yeah.
And they need it done at a quality level. They need a good service. I mean, when we shoot footage, it goes on our servers that are here on site that are we've got a massive data server, over a petabyte just for video content. So
I
their
imagine.
content is safe. We can pull it back up at any time. We've got systems in place to turn things around quickly. We've got lots of tools. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. And you know, back in the day, it was very hard to get into video production. It was very expensive, and that's no longer the case. So what we've had to do is just change our target audience of who we're working with and work with companies that value a little bit more infrastructure and, a little bit more stability and quality.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Well, I think you answered my next question, which was what's not changing as a result of AI, and then basically you're saying you're you're keeping your infrastructure but targeting differently. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can give you a little bit different response on the AI thing, as far
Sure.
as
Yeah.
because we are using AI in
Hmm.
in multiple different ways, and we can talk about that a little bit more, but it still comes down to storytelling for us. It's like,
Absolutely.
do you know how to use your craft to be able to tell a story that is is going to be
Hmm.
impactful to your target audience? And that's the power of video, whether it's on social media or a feature film or training or whatever it might be. You've got to be able to do that in a very, very impactful way. And there's a skill set that AI doesn't have to do that. Now, I do think that it's a tool that we need to embrace. I'm not anti AI, but AI is not going to sit down in an edit suite and say, well, we need to cut this 15 frames quicker or something, and make it feel
Hmm.
right. It doesn't have that ability like humans
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. The soul is missing.
Right,
Right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Has AI impacted your business growth or strategy in any way?
Definitely has impacted the strategy. I don't know about the growth. On the sales and marketing side, AI is something that um, I'm trying to embrace from a business development standpoint. There are a lot of things you can do with AI now that, you know, even as simple as rewording emails, and writing proposals. That's a big thing that's a big part of my job is writing proposals. Well,
Hmm.
you know, if you know how to do the prompts in ChatGPT, and I use for ours, which use several of the different AI platforms, but if you know how to do that, and you can get incredible results. And, you know, if I can save if I can get a proposal 80% done and I can go in and tweak the last 20%, I just save myself maybe a day and a half or 2 days of work. In
Yeah.
old times where I'm writing it or I'm, even typing it out and I'm thinking it through and all that. So I think that's one area that it's really, really helped us. And so we're going to be more efficient and be able to handle more things with that. But also on the production side, we're working on a project right now it's a docu-series, 10-episode docu-series on the history of women's basketball. And
Wow.
so
Awesome.
it's really cool. We've been shooting for 4 years, and we've got 120 interviews
Wow.
of ladies and this is all pre-title if the audience
Yeah.
understands what it is. So 1970 and before. And back then, the NCAA did not recognize women's basketball, so they couldn't play in college. So they had AAU teams that would play, and so we're chronicling the history before Title IX all the way back to the 1800s. And so it's really a neat project, but the challenge is there's not a lot of media, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Very little video. We have pictures. So what we're using AI for is these pictures that are old, and we're up-resing them to 4K and adding color in some, we're adding detail in some, and it's amazing what it does to some of the old pictures and just kind of brings them to life. And what we've seen, so we've been doing that for a year and a half now. And when we started, the AI algorithms they're always learning, but they were still learning. So you'd get a lot of weird things
Yeah.
and fingers and stuff like that. Well, that's
Yes.
getting fixed now. So the results that we're seeing with AI on the image upres is really incredible. So that's a big part of the documentary project now. It's like we're putting most of the pictures that we have, and we have thousands of pictures through a program that's actually fixing issues like scratches and,
Yeah.
all kinds of different things in the pictures.
That sounds super interesting. Wow. I'm a huge fan of women's basketball right now. I
Yeah.
have tickets to the Valkyries here in the Bay Area, which is a brand new team. So,
Yeah.
so,
Well,
so
the
super.
executive producer for the film is from Kansas City, and she's a commentator for ESPN. Her name's Brenda Van Lingen, and she's yeah. So she had approached me about doing this, and was actually going to do it with just these interviews with Zoom. And I'm like, we need to talk about this. So we're shooting it all in 6K, and it's we've been traveling all over the country for 4 years, getting all of the interviews of these ladies that were, matriarchs in basketball. And now we're in the post-production side. So we're putting all of the episodes together, and we'll have by the end of December, we'll have 5 episodes completed.
Cool. I'm excited to watch those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a great project. So, what's working well for you right now, and kind of what's been frustrating in the digital marketing video space?
Yeah. I think that the challenging thing about the business right now used to be, your sales process would be pretty straightforward. We'd call
Hmm.
somebody, we'd send them demos. There was a process. That's all changed now. And it feels like sales is a bit of a moving target. And, so figuring out how you're going to connect with people for me, has been a challenge. And, you know, believe it or not, I feel like podcasting is a really good way to market right now.
Yes,
It's,
I think it really is.
yeah, so I agree. And one of the reasons I believe that for us is in particular, and this is just in our market, but I invite people like Ashley to come on the podcast, and they get to come in. They have an incredible experience. We create some content that they can use, and they see our facility, and we build a relationship with them. And
Yeah.
it's not like a salesy type thing. It's just, hey, I've got to know you a little bit now. You know, you're a nice person. Maybe we could work together. Look at the things that we can do. So I feel like that's kind of the direction that sales is going right now a little bit, where
Hmm.
we're much more relationship kind of focused. And it's not about, I need to make 50 calls today and hope that I talk to 2 people. And out of those 2 people, one person says, could you give me a quote on something?
Yeah.
That to me is not, I don't know. I just don't like that approach. I'm much more about building relationships and getting to know people. And they come see our facility, see what we can do, and like, hey, you need to go talk to Brad, that kind of thing.
Yeah, awesome. Just for the listeners, he mentioned Dr. Ashley's
Hmm.
episode. Mr. Barrow has an excellent episode that I watched about Dr. Ashley Smith. And for anyone that is interested in learning more about sort of dealing with anxiety and happiness, and it's sort of an introduction to the Real Media KC podcasts, it was really fantastic. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and then have a look.
I'm
Um,
glad you like that. Wasn't that amazing? I mean,
it really
not to
was.
get off
Yeah.
on a sidetrack, but understanding how our brains work, it's like, we just take things for granted, I guess. And I was like, man, I learned something in this podcast. So,
Yeah, yeah, I did too. It was super cool. Oh, getting back to you again, which metrics are you most focused on improving here for your business?
well, you know, it's interesting. It's kind of that's been a challenging thing for us too, as creative people when it comes down to, you know, the business metrics and what needs to happen. For me, what I'm focused on is we have, I know how much we need to not raise, but how much we need to bill each month to break even. And in our business, once you break even, it's pretty much all profit after that. There's not that much cost in what we're doing. So the thing that I'm focused on the most, honestly, is what I can do to get new leads and new proposals in the door here. And then the other thing, and so if I can land 2 or 3 new opportunities every month, we're doing great. And
Huh.
And sometimes that happens and sometimes that doesn't. But that's what my focus is trying to, bring in new contacts. And then for us, a big thing of our business plan to grow is building retainer clients. So,
Mhm.
you know, in the video production business for years, I call it the roller coaster of revenue. And so you go out and sell a few deals, you get really busy, you get those things done, you're doing great, and then all of a sudden you realize you haven't sold anything for next month, and then you go down, and then you go up, and you know, that's not the most fun. I like roller coasters, but I don't like the roller coaster revenue very well. So
No.
so my goal is to build. Have you ever heard of the term software as a service? I'm sure you probably heard of
Yes,
that.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
well, I'm trying to build a video as a service model. And so
Okay.
where we are engaged with a brand, we are on a monthly contract. We're a part of the marketing discussions. We're offering all of our services and all of our toolkit to help them solve marketing problems, to help them communicate and get out in front of their audiences. And so we're like an outsourced in-house production team for a brand. That's what we want to be. And we are really good at that. We just need more of those. And so we've got several clients that we do that for. And the great thing is, we get in and learn the business and learn what these brands need. And we become very, very good at the strategy side, how we're going to achieve that strategy, understanding target audience, what are the pain points, where are they online, what are they going to respond to, all those things. And then once we know all those, we can really create content that moves the needle. So that's the really great thing about being on a monthly agreement, is that we become part of that discussion, and we can really help brands for that reason.
Super interesting, and I'm sure that's also where your target audience is coming from, because you want it to be at a certain level.
Yeah, that's right. A small company's not going to, well,
Yeah.
they won't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so where do you want to be in, say, 6 to 12 months from now, ideally?
Yeah. Well, so I have a 3-year plan, and man, I don't know if I should tell you all this now. I'm just kidding. We have a 3-year plan. I would like to triple in size in the next 3 years.
Awesome.
That's a big. I would be happy if we doubled in size, honestly. But I'm trying to build to the point where we have enough infrastructure that I kind of work my way out of a day-to-day job right now. Is what my goal is, and not because I want to get out of the business, but because I want to focus on some feature projects that I have in the works. And so to be able to direct and produce a feature film's not something you can do half of your job one day and half the other day. You really got to kind of dive in and be immersed into that. So
Hmm.
my goal is to build Real Media to a place where it's running. I'm still a part of it, but not in the day-to-day operation. And then our facility, we can do feature film work here. We've got, green screens and recording studios. We just did an ADR project for Lucasfilms about 6 months ago,
Wow,
for their latest
excellent.
film that came out. So, audio wise, surround, VFX and animation, all those things we can do here. And so I want to use those skill sets to not only do the corporate work that kind of keeps us alive, but also for the film work that I would like to do.
Super. Curious, is there any cost benefit to your studio being in Kansas, instead of LA,
Yeah.
the Bay Area?
Yeah. We are definitely less expensive than
Yeah.
the East and West Coast production companies. That's for sure. Just the cost of living here, and, even the building that we're in, if our building on the West Coast would be 4 times what it costs here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
so
imagine.
so we do have the ability to do some things that's a little less expensive, but there's not as much work here either. That's the thing. Although that's changing. I mean, the way we do things now, it's all changing, but that's been a challenge. But, I think that as, like our state, for example, is getting ready to try and pass film credits. And so when that happens, that's going to, bring in more out of town producers and film projects and that type of thing to where we are. And we'll be set up pretty well for that. Actually, adding a virtual set capability here in the next probably 3 or 4 months, that will be even more exciting. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Great stuff. Finally, if you could solve one major challenge today, what would it be?
If I could solve one major challenge,
Yeah.
well, for me, it's all about business development. That's the thing. We've got talent, we've got capability, we've got a facility, we've got tools, we have experience. And so I tell people all the time, so we have a Ferrari here in Kansas City. We just need to put some gas in it now. And so the biggest thing for me that drives everything, and this is an area where I think video producers or owners, we tend to get caught up in the business of the development of, we can do this and I have this camera and I have, these resources
Mm-hmm.
and all that thing, and miss the idea that I better go out and sell something. And
Yeah.
so that's my biggest challenge, honestly, is how can we, get out in front of more brands? How can we get more engaged with more brands, that kind of thing in Kansas City and grow that way. So that's where my mind is. When you're a creative, you love all the other things, but
Yes.
like as the business owner, that's where my focus is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You wish you could be just spending more time on the creative stuff, but you have to
That's why I want to
bring
do
the
film
money in.
production. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to find somebody to do all that for me.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, just how can people find you? Where do you want people to go to find all of your good content?
Yeah. So we have a YouTube channel, Real Media KC. There's a lot of really cool case studies and stuff there, examples of our work, that kind of thing. www.realmediakc.com is our website.
Mm-hmm.
The podcasts are all there, so that you can find our stuff there. We have a Vimeo page. So if you go to
Okay.
Vimeo/Real Media, I believe is the Vimeo page. But I think I have over 500 videos on our Vimeo page of things that
Awesome.
we've done over the years and stuff. So those would be the places, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well. We have a Real Media page on LinkedIn, and I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, I would love to connect.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure meeting you, Brad.
You too.
And I'm excited to follow your content from here.
Yeah.
I'm very
Well, go
excited
check it
about this
out,
discovery.
and yeah, love to. If you want to link back to our website with your podcast, that'd be awesome. That always helps
I
us
will.
too. So that'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll
Cool.
share it too.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And okay,
You
take
too.
care.